She was just a cleaner trying to get to work. One splash of mud changed her life. The woman who mocked her had no idea. Someone powerful was watching. It was a cold, quiet morning. The sky was grey, and the road was still wet from last night's rain. Emma, a young woman in her early 20s, walked carefully along the roadside, holding her small bag of breakfast and a pair of old cleaning gloves. Her uniform was clean but worn out, and her shoes were almost giving way. Still, she walked with purpose. She didn't want to be late for her cleaning job at Crownville Towers. As she neared the main road, she heard the loud roar of a car engine. A shiny white SUV was speeding towards her. Before she could step away, the tires hit a deep puddle. In one awful moment, muddy water splashed all over her, her face, her clothes, her bag. Everything was soaked and dirty. The SUV didn't stop. Instead, the tinted window rolled down just enough to show a well-dressed woman, laughing. Her lipstick was bright red, and she wore huge sunglasses. "Watch where you stand next time," she shouted before zooming off. Emma stood there in shock. Her lips trembled, her eyes burned, but she didn't cry. She just picked up her muddy bag and continued walking. From across the street, a black car sat quietly. Inside was a man named Ethan, a silent observer. He had watched the entire thing happen. The splash, the laugh, the shame on Emma's face. Ethan's eyes narrowed. He knew the rich lady, Vanessa. She was famous for her fashion line and her pride. But what she didn't know was that today, her actions had been witnessed by someone who didn't believe in letting people suffer silently. He picked up his phone. "Find out who that girl is," he said calmly. "I want to know everything." Emma arrived at Crownville Towers looking like a storm had passed over her. Her once clean uniform now had brown stains, her hair stuck to her face, and her shoes squished with every step. As she stepped into the side entrance, her supervisor, Mr. Clark, frowned. "Emma, you're late! And what is this mess?" he barked. She lowered her eyes. I was splashed by a car. I tried to clean up, but no excuses," he snapped. "Get to work. This place needs to be spotless before the guests arrive." Emma nodded and walked toward the cleaning closet. Her co-workers glanced at her. Some shook their heads in pity. But no one spoke. No one helped. She changed into an old backup uniform, tied her hair up, and got to cleaning like nothing had happened. But inside, Emma was hurting. She thought of her little sister back at home, still sleeping in their one-room apartment. She thought of the job she couldn't afford to lose. So she pushed through. Meanwhile, Ethan sat in his office, a tall glass building downtown. He wasn't just any man. He was one of the city's youngest CEOs, a quiet billionaire who preferred to observe than talk. His assistant brought in the file he requested. Her name is Emma Davis, age 23. Works 2 cleaning jobs, lives in West Pine. Takes care of her younger sister. Mother passed 2 years ago. Ethan stared at the photo attached to the file. Emma smiling gently beside a small child. He tapped the photo lightly. "She didn't deserve that," he muttered. His assistant raised an eyebrow. "Do you want me to do something?" Ethan looked up. "Yes, but not yet. Let's watch a little more." Vanessa Johnson stood in front of a mirror inside her luxury penthouse, adjusting her gold necklace. Her phone buzzed nonstop, messages from fans, stylists, and brand partners. She was one of the city's most followed fashion influencers and daughter of a real estate mogul. She smiled at her reflection, proud and perfect. "That girl was standing too close to the road," she said, sipping her green smoothie. "She should be grateful I didn't drive over her toes." Her assistant, Casey, gave a nervous chuckle. "Yeah, sure." Vanessa never looked back. She believed life was about winners and losers, and she was born to win. But across town, Emma's day was dragging. Every time she bent down to mop or dust, her back ached. Still, she kept her chin up and whispered small prayers to herself. One more day. Just get through today. Around noon, she went behind the building to eat her small lunch, a piece of bread and bottled water. She sat alone on a crate, her fingers trembling as she unwrapped the food. Then a man walked past the hotel entrance and stopped. It was Ethan, dressed casually, wearing a cap and sunglasses. He pretended to check his phone, but his eyes were on her. He saw how gently she ate, how she checked her phone for any missed call. Probably from her sister. There was no makeup, no glamour, just a young woman who life kept pushing down, but who kept standing anyway. Ethan's chest tightened. He didn't know her. But something about Emma reminded him of his late mother. Strong, quiet, and never asking for help. He walked away slowly, but a plan was already forming in his mind. She doesn't know it yet, he thought. But her story is about to change. The next morning, Emma woke up early, as usual. She tied her sister Olivia's shoelaces, packed her lunch, and kissed her forehead. "Be good at school, okay?" Olivia nodded, smiling. "You too, Emmy." Emma took the long bus ride to Crownville Towers, still wearing her backup uniform. The stains from yesterday's splash were still on her only good one, soaking in a bucket at home. When she arrived, something strange happened. Inside her locker was a small paper bag. Inside the bag was a pair of new gloves, a warm sandwich wrapped in foil, and a folded note. "For the girl who works with grace, even when the world is unkind." Emma blinked. She looked around, but no one seemed to notice. She opened the sandwich slowly. It was fresh, still warm. She hadn't had a hot breakfast in weeks. She didn't know who left it, but for the first time in a long while she smiled. Far away in his office, Ethan looked through the hotel's internal camera feed, one he had legal access to thanks to a security partnership. He watched her reaction and nodded to himself. "Small steps," he whispered. Meanwhile, Vanessa was on a talk show, talking about her latest designer bag. The host praised her elegance, and she smiled for the cameras like nothing in the world could touch her. But the moment the show ended, Vanessa snapped at her team. "My coffee was too cold. Fire the new girl." No one dared speak back. That was Vanessa's world. Cold, sharp, and filled with masks. But things were changing. That evening, Ethan made another call. "I want her promoted," he said to the hotel's regional manager. "Find a way, quietly." The manager hesitated. "She's just a cleaner." Ethan's voice turned firm. "She's not just anything." Emma was sweeping the hotel's grand lobby when the head supervisor called her over. "Emma Davis," he said, looking at a clipboard. She nodded, nervous. "You've been moved to VIP floor maintenance. Starts tomorrow. Better pay, less mess." Her eyes widened. "Sir, are you sure? I didn't apply." "It's been approved," he cut in. "Congratulations." She bowed slightly. "Thank you, sir." The moment she walked away, whispers began. "VIP floor? For her? Did she charm someone? She must know someone high up." Emma heard it all but said nothing. She had no idea why her life was shifting, but deep down she felt a quiet joy. She shared the news with Olivia later that evening, and her little sister hugged her tightly. "See? Good things can happen." Meanwhile, Ethan continued observing from the shadows. He visited the hotel more often now, always in disguise. He watched her kindness, her quiet strength, the way she treated every guest like royalty, even though no one ever treated her that way. He admired her deeply, but still hadn't spoken to her properly. That same evening, Vanessa received a strange envelope at her office. Inside was a photograph, grainy but clear. It showed her car splashing mud on Emma. A sticky note was attached. "Not everyone forgets." Vanessa's eyes narrowed. "What kind of sick joke is this?" She tore the note and threw it away, but something in her chest tightened. For the first time, she didn't feel untouchable. Back at the hotel, Emma found another note in her locker. "Keep shining. The world sees you, even if people pretend not to." She stared at it, puzzled but moved. She didn't know who was behind the gifts. But something was happening, and deep inside, she hoped it was something good. Emma stepped carefully onto the VIP floor for the first time. The air smelled different. Fresh flowers, expensive polish. The carpets were softer, the walls quieter. She walked with her head low, trying not to draw attention. But her work was flawless. Every corner sparkled under her care. One guest watched her quietly from a nearby lounge chair. It was Ethan, again in casual clothes, hidden behind sunglasses and a newspaper. He observed how she worked, how she smiled politely, even to those who ignored her. He finally stood and approached. "Excuse me," he said. "Do you know where the Sky Lounge is?" Emma turned and smiled gently. "Yes, sir.